And we are live. Thanks so much for tuning in to Civitasolis Happy Hour. We're very excited to have Stephanie and Joshua Gardner of Paradise Winds here. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks. So just a few logistical notes before we get started. We have been really enjoying getting our Civitasolis call for scores for miniatures. And just a reminder that the deadline for that is July 1st, and we look forward to reading all of your work. And one other thing, if you'd like to see past happy hours or know what's coming up, you can go to our website under projects, and you'll see both the call for miniatures there as well as the archive of happy hours. And that's it. Let's get started. I'd love to hear more from you both about Paradise Winds and your mission and goals as a group.
Well, mission and goals as a group. I think the one of the things that's really important to us as Liger visits. One of the things that's really important to us is our relationship to our community. And we do a lot of work in the Phoenix metro area, which is a large, it's I think fifth largest metro area in the country, and that really governs a lot of our programming, a lot of our outreach, and just a lot of the work that we do. I'd say that's one of the big motivators, one of the things that we hold at the top. When you say?
Yeah, we're also very active in commissioning new pieces for this genre. As you guys know, Reed Quintet's a baby ensemble, and we're trying to grow as many resources and pieces, just like you all with your miniatures commissions. So that's really important to us, always having new music to play and supporting new composers. We do some residencies at different schools that have composition programs, and we really enjoy working with the student composers and telling them what works and what doesn't. Also working with composition faculty. We've gotten some really excellent pieces doing that as well. So commissioning, also our mission is to have a good time. We really enjoy playing with our colleagues, the rest of the quintet, so much that, they're great travel buddies. It's like, oh, okay, we're going to go play this concert here. What else can we do around this area? Maybe we can plan a fam trip. It's very much like a family. We enjoy experiencing other cultures and food together. We're all foodies.
Food is a thing,
yeah,
for us. Yeah.
So they're kind of our chosen family.
Yeah, I mean that's so important for so many reasons. But we just enjoy each other's company, and it's good that we can be creative and make some music at the same time. I would also say that in addition to commissioning and performing, we do a lot of educational work, both with residencies and across the valley in the public and private schools, and that's an important aspect of our work.
Yeah, we have an event every January called Read Day, where we host a bunch of high school students from all over the Phoenix area, and it's a free event. And that helps them prepare for their regional auditions that go into All-State in March. That's been a really fun event for us. We do master classes and some chamber music coaching, and it's just a great way to get the community involved. We've also been going to, what is the series with the diocese? Do you remember?
You put me on the spot now.
Sorry, we do a series mostly on the west side of town, where we visit some schools that may not have had as many opportunities as the ones in the East Valley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Education outreach is important to us. We even have a project currently going. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Sure.
It's pretty neat. We had this piece commissioned by a patron, Alyssa Morris's piece, Eyes to See Them, Lips to Hear. Lips to Tell, thank you. And each movement is about a different endangered species, which is really fun, and you get to hear their habitat in the music. The blue whale, you can hear like water bubbles, and the axolotl is in the Mexican lake, and you can hear like mariachi music. And the wild tiger, what is it? The wild stripes, or it sounds like a jazzy, fun first movement. But anyways, each movement is a different character and different animal. And now we're working on a project where there's going to be a children's book that goes with it. And it's going to be interactive, digital version and a print version where we have the animals come to life in the book, and they can listen to it in real time, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So many great points there. Before we get to all of those musical points, as a fellow foodie, what have been your top 3 restaurants when traveling?
Oh, I don't know if restaurants would be
or top 3, whatever your favorite thing in that area.
When we were in Barcelona,
Spain was pretty exceptional. You know, Stephanie and I, it's the 5 of us.
Are very different.
Very different in our
dietary.
So Stephanie and I are both vegan, and can make for some interesting travel food decisions as an ensemble. But it always works.
Right.
It always works.
But the rest of our quintet, they're very adventurous, especially when it comes to meat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to try all the parts, and sometimes we have to go our separate ways, but we always try to find at least one family meal together. And then be like, okay, you guys go to your vegan hippie place and we'll go to our nice carnivore place.
Gotcha. It's probably nice to have some like different, I don't want to say like alone time, but like time to split up,
right.
Into smaller groups while you're traveling.
Yeah, I mean, we're all so busy that even though we're in the same city, we don't get to see each other that often. And so when we do get to travel together, it's actually kind of nice to be with each other. It's fun because we all know each other. We've known each other now for a long time. I mean, Joey, Stephanie, and I have been playing together for the past 15 years. And we haven't gotten tired of each other. So that's an important thing, especially, here. But, it's nice we travel well together, and I think we have a good time.
So one of my quintet mates just messaged me, I think it's Joey, saying that he likes the Superior Grill in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They have some epic margaritas, the most amazing margarita I think I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, also quite possibly the largest. Yeah.
But we had some really good food in Tokyo as well. That was just pretty incredible, the cuisine that we snuck into.
Yeah, it's hard to say what would be the favorite.
Cool. Well, thanks for those tips. We'll keep them in our back pocket for our next trip too.
Well, when we travel, it's like we have to experience the food in the area. It's a nice excuse to get out and experience either a different culture or a different region.
Absolutely, it's my favorite thing to do. Just try the food personally.
And the bubble tea.
Bubble tea. I love bubble tea. I actually have some bubble tea here. Friday's bubble tea day for me, once a week now, during pandemic times.
You've cut back, Lara.
I've had so much. It's water time.
I never really go out now, so it's just a treat. So, yeah.
We'll definitely have to plan out our next outings whenever things get back to normal.
Definitely.
Get some bubble tea.
Definitely.
So it's really great that, your group has such a great rapport with, not only the community, but, you guys are really great friends. And as you said, you have been together for 15 years and you don't get sick of each other. Could you just talk a little bit about how Paradise Wind formed and, maybe any tips that you have for like maybe some younger musicians who are looking to form this kind of an ensemble that, is able to stick together through, many years and kind of become a professional group?
Sure. You may do this.
You start with the.
Yeah. So Paradise Winds actually didn't start as a reed quintet. It started as a reed trio, and it was we were in school. Our original oboist Nick Flickinger was playing with us, and we had a gig in Paradise Valley,
Which is a very nice
Which
part
is
of Phoenix.
It is indeed a very nice part of Phoenix. And we needed a name. And apparently Paradise, I think it was Paradise Trio at the beginning. That it's like, okay, that'll work. And we just kept it. So that's how it began. And so we did a lot of reed trio work. We really enjoyed the reed trio. So oboe, clarinet, and bassoon. And we played most of the repertoire that's available. And the instrumentation began to evolve based on whatever we needed. If we needed a woodwind quartet or something bigger, an octet, doing a serenade or something, we would find people to fill in, and eventually, we came across some reed quintet opportunities and really dug the sound. It was different it was a first time experience for us, and we really enjoyed the low end power
Having
from
two low voices is really nice.
Yeah, and just the homogeneity that you can get out of 5 reed instruments. And so there was a period where we were still a little flexible, accommodating whatever we needed. And in I guess 2012, 2013, we solidified the instrumentation as a reed quintet, and that's what it's been. That's primarily what we do. We will, for the sake of variety, depending on a program, we can branch out and do. I mean, Stephanie and I have a duo that we do a ton of stuff together.
Or we might add piano.
Yeah, or piano or something like that. So there's still a little bit of flexibility, but the core is the quintet. And 99%, 99+% of everything we do is the reed quintet, because we love it and we want other people to love it, and they generally do, because it's cool. And I know I don't have to tell you all that, because
We definitely know. Super cool.
yeah, it's just so cool. So that's how it all started. And the piece, I should mention this, there was a piece that kind of brought our that instrumentation into focus toward a quintet, and it was a piece written for us by our friend, who's now written a number of pieces for us, Kurt Mellenbacher, who's up in Boulder, Colorado. He wrote us this, I guess, 22 minute, 7 movement, extended, like there's no pause.
Symphonic work.
Yeah, it's and
That's Kitty.
Kitty has decided to join us. And it's a big work that's complicated. It's exhausting. It's tremendously exhausting. We played it up in Flagstaff once, which,
Got tunnel vision.
oh geez, 7,500 feet of not being able to breathe. But that we really fell in love with that work, because it was written for us, not just Reed Quintet, but for us,
What we could each
because he
do.
knows us and he knows what we can do. And
He also knows how we play with each other too, and how we blend. And it's just a very intricate piece. He'll have a melody, and he'll have an eighth note, and I have an eighth note, and it's just like this hocket that goes around 5 voices, and it just has to be on, or it doesn't work.
yeah, and so that was I think that piece was a big motivator for us to continue to dive deeper into what was available at that time, and then upon realizing that there wasn't a ton of stuff to explore, working with composers on getting more. So we wrote down some tips.
We did.
Because we had a
A
few
lot of tips.
For people wanting to start a chamber group, and based, I mean, some of them are just like some common sense things, but others are things that we had to
Think about it a little bit more.
deal with.
Mhm.
So you want to?
Yeah, so the first tip is pick people you like working with, make sure you all get along and have personalities that work well, but also have different perspectives and tastes than you. If we all liked the same exact style of music, that can get kind of boring. And one of the things that we do as an ensemble is we listen to each other and say, okay, I want to do this piece. All right, we're going to do this piece, but not everybody in the ensemble likes that piece. Think of some of the repertoire that we've done, that not everyone liked it, but we did it, and by the end everyone was sold on the piece. But it's nice having 5 different,
Give or take.
yeah, 5 different voices on what repertoire you play, and just being able to say, okay, I don't like this piece, but if this person feels strongly about it, I'll give it a go, and I'll commit to it.
Yeah, and it's important to work with people you want to be around. Like nobody wants to, like, I don't want to go to a rehearsal with that jerk, nobody wants that. And so if you want to have a productive, enjoyable experience, then I mean you need to work with people that you enjoy working with, and people who you can work with and be productive. Obviously, if you're just like hanging the entire time, then you're not going to get anything done. That's like the opposite extreme. We'll get to that topic later.
So another one is to be very organized, and we have a group calendar, and that's saved our bacon on numerous occasions, having a group Google Calendar so that we all know what's happening, when it's happening. We have our group email that we all get and see. Everyone's very clear on when deadlines are, so there's not a dropped expectation, oh, you didn't do this. I think setting clear dates so things happen, and not just say, oh, we're going to do this, and be vague about it. We're best when we have a deadline.
Well, and we have to, and as I'm sure you all know, and anybody else in our field, there's a lot going on, and you have to be organized if you want to get anything done. There are a number of apps available too to help with that, like Slack, and plenty of other similar apps that can really consolidate communication. And
yeah, sometimes it gets hard to keep track of a feed and Messenger,
or even,
what was the app that we used to organize each string?
So we tried this app. It was a new developer called Chanty, and it actually works really well and didn't cost anything. So that was a bonus. But it essentially takes all your communication and puts it into one place. Allows you to share files and message and really keep everything. And you can have different topics, different threads, things like that. It's easier than trying to keep track of everything in like a messenger or text message feed or something like that.
Right. Especially if you're like, I know, like you said, if you're in a group together, most likely you like each other or you're friends. And I know that in Messenger, like pictures, whatever, food, like, just really funny stories, like, and it all is like, oh, where's that link? Scroll up like till like a week earlier, like or something.
Yeah, at one point, like a year ago, it got so bad that we tried to have separate chats, but then people would lose in all of their chats, they would lose the serious chat because we wouldn't communicate over it as much. So then they'd be like, where was that chat? What did we name that chat? So yeah, but things like Google Drive and sharing the Google Calendar and email works so well. Yeah.
We have our group Google account. We use that Google Drive. It's shared with all of us to keep everything, our finances, our library, our promotional materials,
Educational stuff.
Yeah, anything related to anything that we ever do is in there, so any of us have access to it, and it's in the cloud, so we don't have to worry about somebody's hard drive crashing and destroying everything.
Same for us. We do exactly the same thing.
Yeah. We use Dropbox a lot too. Through ASU, I have like an unlimited Dropbox account, so we'll sometimes use that for massive files that like media, video files. We'll use that because it's available. So
our next tip is being really prepared for rehearsal, because we don't have very much time. All of us have full-time jobs outside of this ensemble, and so when we meet together, our time is very precious and valuable, and making sure that not one of us is falling behind and they're always ready to go.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, everybody's busy, and I'll touch upon that with our group later, but it's everybody's busy, and you have to be organized yourself to make sure that you go to a rehearsal being able to push the ensemble forward rather than hold it back. And I mean that's always a challenge. And I mean there's some rep presents more challenges for one instrument over another, and that collegiality that's necessary as an ensemble in understanding that is really critical, because you don't want to be a jerk. You can't be, hey Kitty, you can't be a jerk.
Yeah, and if you're you have an ego, leaving the ego at the door, making sure that you can take criticism in a rehearsal and not take it personally. I think that's important. Also, if you have something personal in your life or some drama or stress outside of that rehearsal, that it doesn't come in and impact the ability to work together. So just clearing your mind and saying, okay, we're going to focus, and we got these goals in this rehearsal, and we're going to get this done and get things accomplished.
Yeah, and that can't be overstated. Is just checking all the stuff that's going to be potentially in the way at the door. We often rehearse here at our house because we've just got this dedicated space for it. And, we get here, everybody's ready to go and ready to be productive. And that's really the only way to get stuff done. And at the same time, you need to come to rehearsal with like something to offer beyond just being prepared, and everybody has to be willing to listen to those ideas, because that's how the ensemble can form an identity that's unique and is shared across the ensemble, and kind of goes back to the whole don't be a jerk.
Right.
I mean, did I say that already?
Yeah. Being able to listen to your colleagues and take their advice and not get bent out of shape. That's the trick.
Yep. Another important tip is that as an ensemble, you will need to discuss business-related things that are not related to your rehearsal, to the musical direction, whatever. And just it might be wise to not try to do that in rehearsal. Setting aside dedicated time without the instruments where you can discuss the business that needs to be discussed. We often do that over dinner because we like to eat.
But we have an agenda. We'll mark out what
Yep.
we're going to do and what we're going to cover, and again, give deadlines, or it
Yep.
won't happen.
Tiffany, our oboist, will take copious notes and
Send us reminders.
Send us reminders of what we need to accomplish. And that's been, we learned that the hard way, because we would try to, it's like, well, let's rehearse, and then when we're done, we'll discuss a few things. That's not how that works. It never happens that way.
There's not enough time.
There's not enough time. And everybody's busy. So, and we generally rehearse, well, for a long time we rehearsed at night, and, we all have to get up early, and you can only go so late, and the days are long. So, I mean,
we realized that wasn't our peak rehearsal time.
Yeah,
quickly.
we changed that.
So now we meet on the
Saturday
mornings,
or do we try to meet when the sun is up? Let's see, what else? Business related. It's important as an ensemble to discuss money at the very beginning.
Very open about it.
You have to be open about it. It's like a relationship. You can't hide feelings about it. It needs to be discussed. And how the money will be used and distributed, however you end up doing things as an ensemble, it needs to be explicitly there. Because the last thing you want is, after a gig, somebody saying, well, I got us this gig, so maybe I should get a little bit more. Or I really think that this needs to go to the bank account so that we can do something else that we haven't discussed. All of those things really need to be discussed at the outset to make sure there are no conflicts, because that's not conducive to a healthy ensemble relationship.
Yeah, we keep a spreadsheet of our yearly finances and of our swag and CDs and things that we sell, and everyone has access to that. We have joint bank account. We're an LLC. Everyone has access to that account. Everyone can see it online and what's happening. We have checks that I think everyone able to sign those. Yep, everyone can sign them. But importantly, I think a tip would be, how can you fundraise?
Like,
how can you raise funds as an ensemble?
Like, you need money.
And some of the things that we've done, besides taking gigs, we host a holiday party every year, and we charge admission, and it includes some really high-end appetizers that we all cook and make and prepare for our patrons. And we provide wine and beer and a nice dessert and nice atmosphere. Usually it's held at a friend's house that has a large space for a concert, and we may have 50, 60 people.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what we were saying about the importance of serving your community, and that's one way we serve our community, and our community helps us, because it's community members. It's hosted at a patron's home.
It's kid friendly. There's all ages there. It's fun and very casual. People can ask us questions during the concert. We take the whole day and prepare food together, and then
it's utterly exhausting.
We decorate, and we try to make it a very special night for our regular patrons that come to our concerts. And we raise a few $1,000s doing that every year, and that's some nice money for commissioning or recording. Some other things that we do for fundraising that we're doing right now is we're making a recipe book, which is kind of cool. And we're doing it with some other chamber groups in the Phoenix area, and really excited about this project. But
the foodies come together.
But also selling T-shirts, and we had bottle openers. That was really
I
fun.
mean, like having some sort of swag, which means you need to have
a logo.
You need to have branding. You need to create a brand for yourself. And that might be something that's in the skill set of an ensemble member, or I mean, you can hire somebody to help with that.
We were very lucky to hire Shooty, one of
Yeah.
your former students, who does a lot of design work. We have some nice logos and album cover art from her.
Yeah, having a good graphic artist, if you don't have one in your ensemble, is really very helpful. I think we're at the end of the list, right? We have one more,
Oh,
and it's an important one.
yeah.
Network. Get to know people. Join your professional organizations. Go to your colleagues' professional organization conferences. That's one of the really nice things about the Reed Quintet. I can't tell you how many double Reed Society conferences we've been to.
Or saxophone conferences.
Yeah, and it's always an opportunity to network and to broaden your circle of colleagues. I can't tell you how many times we've had some opportunity pop up because of discussion between recitals at a conference, where we just happen to run into somebody. And we catch up and they're like, you should come to our school, or
We'd like to write a piece for you.
Yeah. Or we'd like to, commission lately we had a conversation with someone about commissioning us a new piece, like a concerto for Reed Quintet and Wind Ensemble. So the opportunities that can come from networking are just exponential.
And you all have different backgrounds. You're probably all from different places. When we go on tours, we totally tap into that. Oh, another cat. Sorry. We went to Kentucky and we were totally tapping into Josh's background. He's from Kentucky. And so we were visiting a bunch of schools and colleagues from that area. And Josh's parents hosted us, which saved a lot of expenses. We also have Joey's background in Ohio, in that area, so we could just, already paying for the flight there, might as well make all the contacts and connections we can. And we were doing 2 things a day and driving all over. It was very fast paced, but totally worth it.
Yeah, it's good to if you go on tour, making it as dense as possible. That's going to be the most cost effective. At least monetarily, your lips might
suffer a bit.
Disagree, but that's another issue.
Yeah.
So I think that's all the
tips.
The tips that we came up with.
Awesome, that's great, guys. Thank you so much. We were wondering, you talked about how you are an established LLC. Could you talk a little bit about why you chose an LLC compared to becoming a nonprofit and what the process was like?
We have, we've gone back and forth on this so much. And, in hindsight, I'm speaking for myself, not as an ensemble. I kind of wish we had taken the steps to become nonprofit from the very beginning. It was, there are additional steps with that, and part of our issue in so many ways is that we all have very busy lives outside of the quintet, and it was an easier option for us at the time. It is frustrating at tax season, but it's every tax season is frustrating, period. But I wouldn't say that there was a strong reason beyond logistics.
Also, we need to make more decisions for ourselves without outside.
Yeah, and not having a board. But at the same time, it's frustrating not being able to tap into the grant opportunities that are unavailable to LLCs. I would say that if I would want to move toward a nonprofit status for that reason.
That's interesting. We've been talking about it and have gotten sort of both sides of the coin from different groups that have said they've done one or the other. So that's a really interesting viewpoint. Thanks.
And most of what we bring in from whatever we do, it goes into the group. It pays for recording and commissioning and travel. Travel is expensive for 5 people. So it's not, I mean, when was the last time we paid ourselves? I don't even remember.
It's not often.
So that, the money is staying with the group, because we want to produce creative products. And as you all know, man,
That's not cheap.
coming out with a CD is not cheap.
Commissioning, not cheap.
Commissioning is really not cheap.
Traveling, not cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for all those tips. I think we asked that of a lot of people, and it's really interesting to see all the different answers we get, and just to kind of combine all that knowledge together for our listeners, because there's a lot of people listening now who obviously follow a reed quintet, so they're obviously interested in chamber music. So, hearing this kind of thing from you guys is really beneficial for them. Moving on, how do you balance Paradise Winds with teaching and with your other chamber music, solo, or orchestral pursuits?
That's a doozy.
It's hard. I teach full-time at ASU. Stephanie teaches full-time at GCC. Patrick is full-time manager of the theater at the Musical Instrument Museum. Tiffany, she has a bunch of private students and works for possibly the largest oboe dealer in the world.
Oboe Fairy.
The Oboe Fairy. And yeah, there's the nods. Yeah. And
I'm a bassoonist and I even know what that is.
yeah, we love Hannah. Hannah is,
She's been very supportive of Paradise Winds over the years.
Yeah. And Joey is, I mean, he is in business and has a very, very busy schedule with that. And so it is hard to, it is very hard to balance everything out.
We schedule our rehearsals probably a good 6 weeks in advance, just because everyone's like, and we put out dates and doodle polls and try to find those common times. We also keep that Saturday morning open if possible.
Yeah.
Try not to schedule things then.
Like at a minimum, if we can only meet once a week, we have this time that we just try not to schedule anything. And again, speaking for myself, it can be really challenging certain times of the year, because when recital season kicks in, I mean, I may be stuck on campus until 11 o'clock because of these 9 to 11 p.m. dress rehearsals.
Also, when we take other gigs outside of Paradise Winds, if I'm playing with the opera or a Broadway show or the symphony, we communicate with each other and say, oh, do we have anything in this timeline that we were thinking about booking? Is it okay? Just making sure that we're not going to have a conflict. And we're very polite with each other when it comes to that, because we all want to make money playing other gigs for sure. But we also have to make sure we're not just, oh, I'm bailing on quintet, I have this other thing,
Yeah, it's, we try to plan out really far in advance to help accommodate that. I mean, as much as we can. Sometimes an opportunity comes up, it's like, that's kind of a nice thing to do. So let's see if we can work that into the schedule. But big things, traveling, anything that requires travel, we have to schedule really, really far in advance because of our collective nightmare of a schedule.
I'm curious along those lines how you decide what rep to rehearse, how long to rehearse each piece, what section to rehearse, especially during those weeks or months where you may only rehearse once a week or less.
Well, we often record rehearsals, and when we get done, I'll upload them into Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever, and we'll listen back and figure out, okay, what needs to be addressed. If we have a recording session coming up, we generally prioritize that because recording sessions are money and you want to be
Pay by the
efficient.
minute.
Yeah, you want to be like ready to go when you step into a studio, because if you're not, that's like more and more money. And there's some rep that we've played many times, and
Don't really need to do too much.
we don't need to do much.
We
Exactly.
prioritize the new pieces that we're just trying to figure out and put together, like the Don Owens piece that we did at NASA.
Yeah.
That was very tricky. There's all these cadenzas, but you have to come in the middle of someone's cadenza and pass it off. And so just having a roadmap of everyone's part in front of you, playing out the score for a long time, but doing those intricate pieces and prioritizing the new stuff and just, touching over the stuff you've already done.
Yeah, and we program in a way that we don't have an entire program of new music, not like new to us, because that's both hard to do in terms of rehearsal. It's also hard to do in terms of practice, because we're all doing other things. Stephanie and I do a lot of duo work and a lot of new music and a lot of recording, and so that requires time too. So the careful programming helps that. Obviously, if a group, if a group is just starting out, then they're learning the repertoire. But as you become more familiar with like your core rep, the rep that your audiences are going to like and the stuff that you want to play, you can gradually expand that. Makes the rehearsal situation much more manageable.
Yeah, I think for us, we always tend to come back to Splinter and Refraction as our go-to, because they were some of the earliest ones we learned really well. And I mean, the audiences just eat them up, they love them so much. So it's easy to go back to. So going on to your albums, we've really enjoyed listening to them. Especially, I love that you mentioned Kurt Mellenbacher's Journey on a Comet's Tail. That's a great piece. I love listening to it. Yeah, it's really wonderful. We love that you also have your Beneath Stained Glass album, which features like Jackie Myers and her stuff. What was the process like working together to create those albums, both logistically and musically?
Well, the Jackie Myers project, that session started off with breaking a leg off a grand piano. That was the first thing that happened in the morning.
We had to move the piano for the recording session, and
it wasn't on a dolly.
We broke it.
And
that's how it started.
So memorable from the very beginning, but we hadn't done that before, and we hadn't broken a piano before, but we hadn't worked with that type of group before, and it ended up being a really collaborative project. Jackie had these tunes that she had written, and she had kind of an idea of how we were going to contribute to that, and it kind of evolved over a weekend. We recorded over Saturday and Sunday, and actually most of the recording was on Sunday. Saturday was figuring out how everything was going to work. So I mean, it was a lot of fun, but we did no editing. It was straight through for every track, and
it's so different than how we record our other album,
Yeah, you know how it is. You go to a recording session, it's like, I screwed that up. Oh, let's do it again. Well, you screw it up. It's like, let's do the whole tune again.
Yeah, does that make it more nerve-wracking to have to do it straight through?
Yeah, especially when there's more people involved, it's not just the quintet mates, but a whole nother band that you're working with. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry, guys, I messed this up. Let's all start over. Like, that's not very fun to do. But it was a really positive experience.
It was a lot of fun.
Jackie came through town a few months before that, and I had the pleasure of playing with her at a local bar, and that was so much fun.
Yeah, she's such a great musician. I mean, great piano player, wonderful singer. Yeah, it was a really fun experience, and unfortunately, the bass player. Let's see, we recorded that summer, right?
In October that year.
Yeah, the drummer Adam Nur and then bass player, they were members of another group. The bass player and somebody else, I can't remember the other guy's name, Potter, I think was his last name. They were traveling between gigs. And they were in bad traffic accident, and 2 of them were killed. It was really, you have that kind of like collaborative, creative experience with somebody, and all of a sudden they're just gone. It's kind of, it was really sad for all of us.
The drummer had to go through, he survived.
Yeah, Adam survived.
But he had to go through a lot of physical therapy.
Yeah.
He's playing again.
Yeah, he's back into playing, but he was really severely injured.
So sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's awful. Yeah, I can't imagine.
But the other album was very different. It was a studio production, all original pieces that were written for us over the years, and we really thought that Kurt's piece should be the namesake of the album, because it's such a big piece and meant so much to us. It was also the first piece we recorded in the studio together.
Which was a big undertaking because it was the most intricate of everything.
Yeah, it was a pain.
We might not have done that again. If we had gone back, we might have picked something else to start with.
Yeah, had we not been like, good friends, it could have been rough. But yeah, we're actually working on another album that we're hoping will finish up to come out beginning of next year, of some new pieces and some not so new pieces.
Awesome. Can't wait. I was wondering, it's so cool that you've collaborated with so many artists in different genres. I was wondering, when you commission pieces or look for repertoire to play, do you feel like you go for any particular style, or all of the above, or whatever you like?
Well, we're working on a commission right now on selecting a composer to approach, and collectively we've all put in a list of our top choices, and then we go through and listen and we vote, and then we turn in the top 3 names, and they actually have a patron who is very kind to us, and he's offered lots of support in the past, but he's commissioned pieces for us, and he's going to commission another one. But the range from the ensemble is quite extreme, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, we go about, sometimes commissions are an opportunity to work with a specific composer, or we did a residency at a university, and we worked with composition students on writing for a reed quintet, and the composition faculty really loved the sound, and they ended up writing us 2 pieces. That's the Kavash and Marvin on that album, and we love that. We went back up there when was that, last year?
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, I've lost complete track of what time, the date.
Yeah.
So that was by chance, but with this particular project, it's pretty democratic, and I go back to the important connection that we have with our community. We want to play for them music that they will enjoy, and that's a big deal for us because our community supports us so much. So we try to do what we can to make sure that we are meeting the demand, and that demand is beyond what we want.
We want our audience to come back and
and
enjoy.
And we'll give them a taste of something with like multiphonics or
something crazy,
something
fun.
That's not so tonal. But we try to give them a taste rather than just like bombarding, because they know what we do, and we've figured out what they enjoy, and we don't want to. It's a
balance, actually.
Yeah, and it's a relationship that's important, and we have to. We can't violate that agreement that we have with our that unsaid agreement with our community. So that's a big part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love how you describe this as a relationship between your group and also who listens to you. So I really like that. And moving on to our last question, what is your goal when you are giving a master class, and how do you divide up your teaching?
Sure, I can do it. Okay, so it depends on the classroom or the master class that we're giving. If it's a chamber situation, we all kind of chime in on our hot button topics like balance or blend, intonation, articulation. We all have our pet peeves that we like to dig into, but we take turns. If it's instrument specific, we'll go with whoever is playing that instrument. We also took a unique opportunity at a conducting class of doing nonverbal communication and cueing, and that was fun. But we kind of just work as a group really well, and being polite to each other, not to hog too much time, letting everyone have an opportunity to say what they want to say to that ensemble is very important.
Yeah, and it kind of works out without having to do too much organization beforehand. I mean, for any masterclass, the number one goal should be that the group or the person sounds better in some way when you're done. Preferably in a way that everybody in the audience can also
learn and
be better when they pick up their horn. And we all recognize that, and we're all listening to, we may be listening to the same things, or we may be listening to different things, and so we try to complement each other when working with a group. And sometimes it'll just be one of us working with a person or a group, or it may be like several of us. We did a master class back in October, and we were doing some rhythm exercises, and we were doing some like clapping polyrhythm things, and got everybody involved with that. So it was obviously more than one person to make that work. So it depends on the situation, but ultimately the goal is for them to be able to do, the students to be able to do something better than they could before the class. So picking on weird esoteric things might not always be the most productive use of time. Depends on the student.
Right. Just being flexible as teachers to read the room and see, oh, are they getting this? Oh, that didn't work. Let's do something else.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, Luis, were you saying something? We both said absolutely. Thank you both again so much for all of these tips. And before we wrap it up, we're going to do our fun lightning round, the moment we've all been waiting for. So we have a timer that goes for a minute, and we have questions for each of you. So we're going to start with Josh, and Bridget is going to ask you questions, and you have a minute to answer them as fast as you can. Oh no, I started the timer. I didn't even share my screen yet. So I'm going to share my screen now.
Lara, do you want me to pull up the our fun alarm sound at the end? We decided. Okay.
That'd be great. All right. Doing too many things at once here. 1 second. All right. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. And you will have a full minute, not 58 seconds. All right, Bridget, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Favorite composer?
Oh God.
It's gonna take the whole minute.
Favorite composer? I don't have one.
Okay, go to clarinet etude book.
Height, book 2.
Favorite coffee shop?
King Coffee. See where my
Favorite way to eat potatoes?
Oh God, every way.
Agreed. Coolest thing that you've done during quarantine?
Recorded with my wife.
Current show that you're watching?
Kim's Convenience.
Okay, and that is time. Good job.
Nice.
Good job.
Okay. I'm not
You
muted.
redeemed yourself after the first freeze.
Awesome. Bridget, I'm going to ask if you could do this one as well, because I think I
Yeah, no
actually went to
problem.
our Google Doc. So,
Yeah, you did.
oh, well. Okay. You ready?
Okay, ready?
3, 2, 1, go.
Name of your pets.
Kitty, liger, puma.
Favorite long tone exercise.
Going up chromatically at different dynamics.
Favorite standard piece of clarinet music.
Brahms Clarinet Quintet.
That's a good one. Last recipe you made.
Chickpeas and a peanut butter sauce.
Oh no, just kidding. That was the one I just asked. What was your first car?
1990 Volvo.
Go to outdoor activity.
Running.
Favorite performance memory.
Oh, I'm thinking on this. Next question.
Favorite comfort food.
Oh,
Potatoes.
chocolate.
Chocolate.
Ding.
That's time. That was perfect.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you both so much again for joining us today. It's been really fun, and I know that all our viewers also have gotten some amazing tips, as well as us, on having a chamber group.
Well, thank you so much for doing this and having this series, because
It's been really fun.
it's really fun.
Of course. Just a reminder, July 1st, deadline for the Civitasolis call for Reed Quintet miniatures. And you can check out our website on the projects tab if you want to look for any previous happy hours, as well as what's coming up. And I think we'll sign off now. I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.